I mean, I can't get over how much nicer it is to be able to see our intro and know when we're actually here to start.
It's actually me.
I wanted to dance to it. I'm like,
it's not. Yeah, it's not. It's not faux Pam. It's actual Pam.
It's
which
actual
is great.
Pam.
Yeah. So, but we do have faux Shaw, right?
yes, I am Christy, not Fosha.
So Christy's standing in for the time being for Shauna until we can figure out what we're going to do and how we're going to get her back onto the show. But thank you very much for Christy for joining our mad little crew.
I am so delighted. Thank you for having me.
And welcome to our new show called Chaos.
Chaos, yeah.
Shenanigans.
We run AMOK every week.
AMOK. It all goes hand in hand together. But we figured the best way to invite Pam back to the show since she decided to travel the world is to just throw her into the fire and say, hey, it's your week, go.
Absolutely. That's the best way to do it. So I'm thrilled. I mean, the week that I left, it was Kansas's turn. And then when I get back, it's my turn again. So it worked out perfectly. But we do want to welcome Jason Roberts. He's from Road Trip Paranormal.
Yay!
From Kansas.
Welcome.
Jason was with us last year, too. And we enjoyed him so much, we asked him to come back again. So
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. So what have you been up to, Jason?
Working.
Yeah.
Working.
Yeah. No, for the last 2 years, I don't know. When was I on here?
Oh my gosh. I want to say it was like it was a year ago, February. So
okay.
It's been a while.
Okay.
What a great memory, lady. My goodness.
Not really. I cheated. I looked
Alrighty. We've been I signed a contract which I don't, want to ever do again to with a marketing company and all that, and we started doing I was doing ghost tours with another company for a lot of years, for like 15, 16 years, and then we started with this marketing company to do our own tours with our own stories here in Wichita. And it took off really well. That's what took up most of last year for us. It was, we started at like September and we went all the way through into November, like every Saturday, two tours a night. And it got brutal.
Oh,
So
man.
haven't really had a lot of time to like last year. Haven't had a lot of time to go do a lot of things. We a buddy and I did, a member of my team actually, we went down to Oklahoma to kind of check out a house that seemed a little weird on how they contacted us. So we were just kind of on the skeptic side of it, but we still traveled down there and we camped out.
Back up. You said weird on how they contacted you. Is it like with a carrier pigeon or something? That would be weird.
No, so my wife,
was that?
Baby pterodactyl.
they contacted my wife out of, she has nothing to do with any of it. They contacted her for help, and she's like, why are they contacting me? I'm not in any of this. My name's not even out there. And I'm like, I don't know. So they kept going back and forth for a little bit. Finally, I started talking to them and they wanted help. There was weird stuff going on in their house. So me and my buddy, I finally just pulled the trigger and said, let's drive to Oklahoma. Let's check this house out. We camped out at 10 Killer Lake.
Nice.
Have you guys ever been there?
Oh yeah, I like it.
Isn't there
10
supposed
Killer
to be an
Lake.
octopus and
Yeah, I didn't know that there was like another cryptid of an octopus size of a car that's in the water. So we were the weirdos on the beach or on the bank. Every time somebody paddled by, we were like, "Hey, have you seen the octopus today?" And then they just paddle faster. But,
You only goes out at night to snack.
but then it turned out to be like we were like a block away from the house, and they just kept saying, you can just go on in. You can just go on in. We're not there, but he's under the pot. go on in. We'll be there. And we're like, we're gonna wait till you're there. So we get a block away from the house. I'm looking at the house, and she says, "It's a no go. Don't feel good. Sorry for wasting your time."
Are you kidding?
And
Wow.
yeah, and this is down in Tahlequah. It's not a quick drive for
No,
us.
it's not a quick drive for me.
Me neither.
So-
I'm in Oklahoma.
So so we ended up going, and I don't know if I've talked about in the past our all of our stories from Tahlequah from back in 2012 to now. Yeah, so we went to go see the cemetery that we had a lot of things happen there at the cemetery.
Mhm.
So it's way back in the woods, kind of outskirts of town, and we went there and had kind of an amazing night.
So it worked out.
It was, yeah, it worked out on that aspect, and it was kind of mind blowing, actually.
Really?
We went there, we're like, okay, let's do something. We're here, we got our gear, let's go out there. It's just a square cemetery. It's not big, but the people that we investigated their house like many years ago, and in Tahlequah, they told us about that cemetery. So we went, and the first night, it was a beautiful night. The moon was out. You could see every headstone out there. We set up some equipment and everything. But prior to getting out of the car, sun was still up. So prior to all the setting up the equipment, we're just sitting in the car and we're talking. And I know that there is Bigfoot out there. I've seen the creature myself out there. It blew me away. And so we're just sitting in the car talking, and finally we just like popped the doors open and jumped out and said, let's have some fun out here. And as soon as we did, like all around us, it was all this loud screaming all around us. It almost sounded like crows or birds at first, but the longer we stood there and trying to figure out where it's coming from, because it was like, I get out of the car, it's off to my left, the cemetery's off to my right, and then over in front of us. And it started turning into almost like chatter. You could almost make a language out of it.
Interesting.
It was weird. So it was almost like we disrupted their time out there or whatever. And it was bizarre, And
So
Jake,
where was it at?
just on the outskirts of Tahlequah.
Oh, Tahlequah?
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, close to Tin Killer, or
No, Tin Killer. Well, not far. Not far. I think we were 15 minutes away, or
yeah.
um,
Now,
Is it-
Karen's saying, Jason, was this a personal house that sent you the strange invite, or a location that was open to all investigators?
to the house. It was just a contact to us to come down and help. Which I have no idea why they would contact us in Wichita.
It's odd.
And they're down in Oklahoma, and I thought, it just got weirder with the communications and stuff. But
It sounds like it's a really good
Little
thing
strange.
to not go to that house by yourself.
yeah,
Oklahoma is odd, and you got to be careful who you accept the invitations for. So it's like, is it a broken arrow? Because I had a really weird one. So it's just like,
It's giving Bloody Bender vibes,
yeah.
I've seen a few movies like that before,
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
yeah. I made the mistake a long time ago, like, I don't know, 15, 17 years ago. Kind of new still on the team, and this is back when I was full on with Everyday Legacy Paranormal, which my buddy Leo still runs that, but that's before I broke off and we just kind of combined them. But I went off to go interview a house, and I went by myself. Oh, I heard about it from everybody later. You idiot! Why did you go? Could have been, yeah, and it turned out to be a complete fluke anyway. But so I learned not to go by myself.
Yeah.
No, it's bad.
Safety in numbers, for sure.
So you're in Tahlequah, and all this stuff is so chitter chattering stuff like going on. Do you like? Did you dude run?
We I mean, you can almost tell that it was moving around. Like I couldn't see hardly anything. There's a lot of dense woods right there, but it was almost like we separated them or something like that. That's the feeling we got. And
Like you're being
my friend
surrounded?
Jake, yeah, but they all kind of met finally, and then it just slowly died off. And we ended up getting some audio of it too, because I mean, as we stand there in awe, we're both like, audio, get something,
Yeah.
get something, you know?
Yeah.
That's amazing that you remembered, because so many times in the moment,
Yeah.
you forget.
I know.
And afterwards, I've done it. Afterwards, you're
Oh.
just thinking to yourself.
I think that's like the number one paranormal investigator thing is like, something's happening and you're like, oh, that's awesome. And then somebody asked, did you capture that? And I'm like, no, I totally forgot.
So have you been
I
to
forgot to hit the record button,
Had you been to Tahlequah before that ever? Or
Yeah.
since?
Yeah. We were invited to help a fellow investigator back in from 2012 to 2015. Brandon Callahan from up in Kansas City. He was riding around with our founder Jeremiah, and they found a property down there where these two Native American brothers were having so much activity in their house from the time they were young all the way up to now. One of them was really sick with cancer, and so they were older. But we spent a lot of time traveling back and forth over those like 3 years, going back to that time. And we ended up having to tent camp it every time we were out there.
Oh, yeah.
And sometimes it was like 20-degree weather out there. So
Oh, no, too cold for me. Too cold. I like I like heat and air. I like that.
Well, me too. But at the same time, I was so pumped about everything that was happening on the property because the brother said that the land that they have, it's like passed down from generation to generation since the Trail of Tears. So it's like their family land.
I had to run and grab it, Jason. This is
that's
the
book.
Brandon Road. It's called The Agony That Remains. And it's all pretty much the case and how they got there and what all occurred. It's a fantastic book.
Nice.
Everybody says that it seems too fantastic, but I guarantee you everything that happened in that really did happen. Because we got photographs and audio and everything.
Well, Tahlequah, just that region is just kind of weird. Like Jessica said, it seems to be a hot spot. We've investigated twice in Tahlequah. We got lucky, got invited to investigate Northeastern. So that was kind of fun. A lot of weird, schools are weird anyways. But that school had a lot of strange stuff going on. And then we did a home out there. So, but yeah, it's pretty trippy.
It's an interesting town, that's for sure.
I definitely don't want to go out in the woods. I'm not a woodsy kind of guy.
What I thought was so fascinating about this particular thing is the way that Brandon found the area in Tahlequah was through tracing ley lines. And he found one that went, instead of looking for cases or looking for situations, he followed the ley lines and went to Tahlequah and started asking questions. And that's how they found this amazing, amazing experience. Which
I used to work out in Tahlequah a couple of years ago, and I didn't do paranormal stuff at first, but then I had some clients who were like, can you come to my house? And I've got some things happening. And I'm like, okay. So it's very interesting, especially the closer you get to the woods and the further you get away from the town. It's very interesting.
It's on my bucket list for sure. So one of these times, Jason, when you head down that way, you're going to have to holler at us because we'd love to come along.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'd love to go back to that. I mean, I know it's just a cemetery, but what happened the next night that we were there, because we were like, because first night we went there to the cemetery, we had just gotten to town and we were just like, oh, let's go check out the cemetery because the case at the house was the next night. So after a great evening, not a lot happened with our equipment and everything out there. We had a few things go off, but it was just a fun time being out there. But it was the following night that we were after the people ditched us. Kind of thank God. I was kind of hoping they would anyway. But so we drove around kind of mad. We're a little upset that we drove all the way out there for this and then nothing. And then I ended up taking a wrong turn and I got us lost in the
I've seen that movie.
backwoods.
That's bad.
Oh, you
Security,
should have seen it. You should have seen it. It was like something straight out of Sleepy Hollow with the trees that got going over you and the moonlight down. Oh, I was driving with both hands on the wheel, just going, yeah. You kind of think that banjo music might actually be out there, but it was, because finally found where we wanted to be. We went back to the cemetery. And we were sitting there, we're videotaping ourselves, just kind of going over, trying to document every moment we were out there. And
make something of it.
We were griping, and it was dark already. It was probably like 10, 11 o'clock at night. And as we were sitting there, the night before, you could see everything in the cemetery from the moonlight. And it was basically still the same kind of sky. It was clear, no clouds, but the cemetery itself was completely dark and couldn't see anything. So we get out of the car, we walk over to the gate, and Jake, who is twice my size, he's like, "You're not getting me out there. You're not getting me out there tonight." And he's not scared of anything, but he's like, And so it was just that ominous darkness to the cemetery, and we didn't know what to do. We were just like, okay. So he got his camera out, and he's got a big old 4K movie camera thing, and he got it on the tripod, and we're just filming, and I got my little handheld, and you get that feeling of being watched. We had a couple of rocks thrown at it. We had some rocks thrown at us, but not like right at us, but more at our feet, and it was like hitting the ground. Heard a couple of yells off in the distance, but it was just that weird feeling. And finally, I just made the comment. I said, you can't even hear a dog out, and there's no houses on that dirt road. It's all just abandoned, caved-in homes.
Yeah.
And I said, man, you can't even hear a dog out here. And as soon as I said that, a dog over in the right-hand corner of the cemetery just goes ballistic, barking at us. And it just stayed there, and we were like, oh, okay, that's weird. I said, when was the last time you actually just had a dog that's going that nuts and wasn't wanting to charge us? And it wasn't like bouncing on the fence or anything, until Jake actually started to notice how its voice started to like almost change, almost like something was trying to mimic the sound of a dog. If that makes any sense.
It does. Yeah, that's interesting.
So no dog at all.
So we were, and this is the same cemetery, and I'll tell this story in a little while, but this same story same cemetery that Brandon Callahan, the author, filmed daylight footage of something crazy that happened in the cemetery, but I'll get to that in a second.
Fantastic.
But as we're standing there, we both were like on the verge of wanting to bail. I was like, so how much longer do you want to be here? I'm ready to go back to the tent. So as we were just sitting, because I just had that uneasy feeling the whole time, and I don't get that very often, but the barking just started getting faster and louder and louder and louder. And finally, I asked again, when do you want to go? And he goes, here in just a minute. And as soon as he said that, the barking stopped immediately, and it sounded like hands grabbing the fence, and you hear what sounds like somebody hopping the fence and landing in the grass, and you can hear grass moving. Yeah, we both were like, we're out. We both ran around to the back, got in the car. As I spun around to do the U-turn, I really was expecting something to be right in our way, but nothing. I drove to the end of the cemetery drive. I stopped the car, rolled my window down. I said, there's no dog out here. There's nothing. Where's the dog? You know, if it was that upset with us being out there, why wouldn't it be? Yeah, you're kind of on that, Alicia. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of what we were thinking, because that leads with what happened with Callahan. But we get back to 10 Killer Lake, and by now it's like 1 o'clock in the morning. And the campground is quiet. We sit down at the picnic table, and we're going over the footage on my camera. He's like, I just want to make sure that when you asked or said there's you can't even hear a dog out here, is that when the dog started barking? So we're watching it, and we got our back to the little dirt road for all the campsites. And sure enough, yeah, as soon as I said that, the dog started barking.
Oh,
Well,
no.
I don't know what made Jake actually turn around, but he turns around and he goes, "There's an effing dog." And I stand up, I turn around, and yeah, there's a weird looking dog right behind us in that kind of crouching way.
Oh, no.
It
Oh, no.
turns around. I kid you not. We saw it with our own eyes. It turns around. You don't even hear the rocks move or anything. It runs into the grass, and there's like a line of trees, and then a whole open field that's lit up by the moonlight. It goes past the trees, gone.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Hellhound.
Enjoy's
Yeah.
actually, is it a dog or a wolf? Or I guess out here it'd be coyotes, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
I don't-
hellhound.
I don't know if it was like between a shepherd and something else. It just had that look, but it had a weird feel to it.
And quiet.
And didn't hear it. Didn't even hear
Yeah.
it move.
Yeah.
So
You
I
hear
just
me
sat
poop?
down. I just sat down on the bench again and just stared. And then finally, he's like, "Let's go." So we walked the entire campground looking for this dog. I mean, kind of in a creeper way, with people at their campgrounds. But we were walking around. We were like, "I want to find this dog," but never found it.
Yeah.
And next day, as we were getting ready to leave the next day, nobody had a dog out. I mean, somebody had like a little chihuahua in their arms, but that wasn't it.
No.
The
What's
Chihuahua
really
look.
freaky about all that is the fact that when you say dog and it appears, it was understanding. Something had an understanding. What you
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Into that,
When,
going to that skinwalker idea again.
Yeah.
yikes.
Mhm.
When you were in the cemetery, and I guess even from there back to the campground, did you feel like you were in another time or place, or just did it feel like normal?
No, the whole experience didn't feel normal. It didn't feel
Okay.
normal even the whole time out there. As soon as we got out of the car that second night, we both felt uneasy. It just didn't feel right. But we were there to make something happen, I mean, not waste our drive out there, so why not? But yeah, I usually am all for it and usually gung-ho running towards stuff, and I didn't care. That night, no, I didn't want to even step foot in the cemetery, and I'm glad he didn't either. So
No kidding.
I wonder if the voices that you heard at the beginning, or the sounds, you said it turned into voices. I wonder if there were squatch there that were actually communicating with each other and saying, kind of like, "Here's these two city slickers. Let's have some fun with them tonight."
yeah,
Skinwalking type stuff or whatever.
yeah, I almost
They
wonder.
know everybody.
Yeah,
Tree on the outside, crunch in the middle.
I wonder that night, that second night when we had some of the rocks thrown at us that hit the ground before they weren't at us, but they were at our feet and just kind of in front of us. If that was like, get away, get out of here, because they were way far away from the kind of yells that we were hearing. And I wonder if they just didn't like what was there and maybe trying to help us get out of there. I don't know.
You could be
Either
right,
that-
especially
Yeah.
because they were throwing rocks at your feet and not at you.
Yeah.
They weren't trying to scare
Right.
you. They were trying to say, hey, or trying to hurt
Yeah,
you. They were
hey,
trying to say,
hey,
hey.
dummy, get out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But maybe they were just trying to get your attention so you would look more.
Well,
Right.
maybe it was a dog that wanted to play fetch or something, Here's a rock, let's play fetch.
Think about it. When you see an animal that is close to danger and you want to get it away from that danger, you know, and you're yelling at it and it's not responding, what do? You pitch a rocket, you know, towards it, so
Right.
scare it away. Could be the same
Mhm.
thing.
Yeah.
Could be.
Wild,
Could be.
man.
So that same cemetery, Callahan told us that they got this all because they were in the middle of trying to film a documentary. But you know, just doing everything raw with a camera. And it was daytime in the afternoon, and he said, and I've seen a clip of the video up until the incident, but the camera's turning and then it fades away because they were trying to make a trailer to it.
Mhm.
But he claims on camera in the daytime, while they were out there in the cemetery looking around at some of the headstones, they turned and looked at the big gate. It has like an archway to it, that you can drive a car, so it's pretty big size. And there's a gentleman that's just standing there. They never saw him walk up, never heard him coming. He's just standing there staring at him. So they were like, "Oh, I'm gonna go talk to this guy, see if we can get any information on anything." And he said, "I kid you not." And I don't even know if I have the right to be telling you guys this, but I'm gonna do it anyway. The guy started to morph and actually like get larger and larger and larger to the point where he filled up the entire archway of the opening.
What?
Holy hell.
And then
Wow.
and my buddy Jeremiah says he's watched it and he said it's just mind blowing. And then it shrunk and the guy was gone.
No way.
That is
Yeah.
crazy.
Wow.
And I don't know why he's never released it, whether or not nobody would believe him. I don't know.
Oh my
But
gosh.
That might
But
also bring
there's-
some undue like attention or something. Like maybe it's kind of like it's something that you want to hold on to just because if does get out, it might get overpopulated. It might cause more issues for the area.
Yeah.
Possibly. You know, whatever.
Well,
Yeah.
he did have some problems with stuff following him home too, didn't he?
yeah,
And maybe
We
that
all-
would play into that.
we all kind of did.
yeah.
We all kind of had some tragedies in our own life and just either health or family stuff that just went downhill after coming back each time. So
Hmm.
it's an odd area for sure.
Have you been there often?
For the time of 2012 to 2015, we were out there probably every year. In 2015, we went out there and we stayed on the two brothers' property for 3 or 4 days, filming. And because at the time we were under contract to film for an A&E project, so we were doing that, and we caught some amazing stuff. But yeah, on that case, we had like 2 or 3 different Sasquatches that actually were getting closer and closer to us, to the point where they were like 20 feet away just watching us.
That's wild.
That's
You just
crazy.
And then
barely
I
saw
had my view of one that walked out from behind the house, went right under the pole light that was there, so I got to see how big it was, and it was massive. And everybody just like jokes about my reaction to it because I smacked my buddy in the head. I took off running toward it. What I was going to do, I have no idea. But I was running toward it because I was like, I'm seeing one right here, and I'm not going to let this in. And I could see it turn and run, and it ran down the embankment. You could hear
Running
it crack.
towards Bigfoot turns you into fast food.
Yeah.
He probably saw this short little white guy running right at him, so he probably ran, you know.
He's shy. He's like, I don't need any new friends, man.
That is
So-
great. Oh my
That's
god.
crazy.
So it's a great time out there. That's what between the bus tours and me and Jake going off and doing that last year, that was pretty much it for us. We didn't do a whole lot last year. I don't know if I'm going to do the bus tours this year in Wichita. I got to wrap my head around that because it's entertaining people for 4 hours every Saturday night.
That's a
So
lot.
yeah, and you get the alcoholics on there.
Oh yeah.
So
Uh-huh.
that was awful. Kind of burnt me out. It just burnt me out.
Oh,
Well, yeah,
But
a lot of things start out fun and then it turns into becoming a job. You don't want
yeah,
you don't want your hobby to become a job.
for sure.
no, yeah, I want to have fun. That's what I'm trying to get back to doing is actually having fun. So,
Good.
um, I know I sent you some pictures and stuff. That's some of the,
Good, yeah.
um,
Jess, you better be at Paracon this year.
Yes.
when is it? When is it? I need to
September
schedule it.
28th. September
September
28th.
20th.
It's the
Not far
last.
from my birthday.
Oh, cool. Yeah, it's the
Oh,
last Saturday of September every year.
Okay, I will mark that down.
Cool.
Where is it at?
It's in Caney.
That's
Okay,
in Kansas.
Yeah.
okay.
It's what town are you in? I forgot. I know you're not in Wichita.
I'm in Mays, but it's still
Oh,
like right
close
here
to
by
Wichita.
Wichita.
Okay, you're
Yeah.
about 2.5 hours away. About 2 hours away.
Oh, that's cool. That'll
Yeah.
work.
it's a lot
If
of
you go
fun.
over to 75, right on the
Uh-huh.
Kansas line, north of Tulsa, that's where we're at.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, just right there.
That'll work. That'll work.
They've
I'll
grown
see.
and grown every year. It's really wonderful.
Yeah, everybody that you see on the screen, they'll all be there. Christy's there.
Yeah.
Sweet.
And
Awesome.
Adrian. Yeah,
I get to
everybody.
meet you all.
Yes,
Most of the
absolutely.
people that are,
Try
at
to,
least
try
the
to
people that
contain
are
yourself
in.
when you do.
Oh, Enzo just said it's an hour and 45 minutes from Derby because he's in
Hi,
Derby.
Enzo.
Okay. Okay. My folks live in Derby, so yeah.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
That'll work. Yeah, it's a good time. We have
You
a
can
lot
stop
of
there for lunch and then keep going.
fun. In Derby, yeah. So yes, you did send us some stuff. Adrian, you'll have to pull it up, but I think I can flip through it.
Boom. That's
Yeah.
what
Whichever one you want to look at first.
Well, there we go. Hey, that big hit had me. Here. Why is this not working? Add to stage. That
There
might
you
help.
go.
Aha!
There you go.
That's our restructuring of our logo and all that. Kind of going into our new company and being under a marketing company in production. So I've never in my life went through the process of trying to do what is best for the company and business and turning it into a business instead of fun. So this is, I had to work with, all these art people and everything like that, trying to come up with logos for us, and I had to reject a bunch of them. And
I
but
like
yeah,
it. This one's pretty nice.
but that was our beginning 2 years ago. So it's been going okay. We have a little issues and stuff trying to get everybody on board on the same path of what we want to do. I have in my mind like filming our own documentary and everything. So
That'd be
hopefully
awesome.
hopefully we can get that to happen. I want to make something like really good for everybody to watch.
That'd be awesome.
Mhm.
Okay.
I hope so. Yeah, that was day one. That was day one.
Oh, a filming. Oh, cool.
Yeah. I really had no idea what he was going to do. So that picture right there, that is Ness City. That is a former bank from it was started to get built in 1886, got finished in 1889. That is in Ness City. It's called the Ness City Bank Building. We go there as much as possible. They are allowing us to come whenever we want to do events and investigate. We get full access of every single inch of that building. And some of the most amazing things have happened in there when it comes to actually talking and communicating with people, with the spirits inside. Because we started doing that Estes session or whatever you want to call it. I always get Jake under. He's got the headphones on. He blindfolds himself, cranks up the spirit box or the portal. He can't hear me, but the next thing you know, I'm having a conversation from far away with somebody that's there, and it's been fantastic.
We
Basically,
utilize it a lot. It's a great
yeah.
to do.
Pam is the Estes queen for her team.
Jake's my go-to person. Dan's good too on it, but Jake and I have that connection where we can talk. And come to find out, there's a guy that was murdered up in the third floor there.
Ooh.
The third floor used to be the Masons, and something went wrong, and they lynched him
Oh.
and
Wow.
hung him up there. Twice now we've been up there, and we keep getting the same answer to, I'm on the ceiling. They hung me.
Hmm.
Wow.
And then the guy who was a part of that gets really angry at me for even asking questions. So it's a cool place. But the thing that really blew me away was early last year. We were there, and we had guests there, so we were rotating everybody around. And Jake was downstairs with the spirit box going out loud, had his SLS camera, and he's in the basement. And as he pans around, there's these two chairs in the far back, and figures pop up. Now, of course, it can map out chairs as figures too, but there's two figures sitting there, and immediately through the spirit box was a voice speaking Spanish. And a girl that was in his group understood it, and she giggled, and he goes, "Well, can you translate for me?" She goes, "Yeah, they're wanting to know why we're haunting their home."
Oh my
Oh,
god.
wow.
Who were the
That's
ghosts
crazy.
then?
Yeah, that's
And
wild.
I was like, "What do you mean they think?" Yeah, so those two spirits were actually thinking we were in their home haunting them. So
Yeah.
we had her stand there and talk to them and speak in Spanish to explain that no, this is a bank, and this is the year so and so, you're not here anymore. And finally they just went silent, and then the voice came back and said, "Well, welcome to our home anyway."
Wow, that's pretty cool. Oh,
I
that's
was
kind
It
of
was an
Stuff like
awesome
that is
experience.
fascinating. Stuff
So
like that
that's a cool
fascinates
place.
me because
I mean,
I've seen that before where you'll be asking, hey, who is here? Can you see us? And they'll be like, yeah,
Yeah.
I can, who are you? Where are you at? Kind of thing. And
Yeah.
it's so interesting to see all that.
I've had people, I've gone and done, I'm a medium, and so I've gone and done some things with like house blessings and cleansings, and people are like, they just bought a new house and are like, tell them to get out of my house. They're robbing my house. They took my things. And I'm like, no, they didn't.
Wow.
It's crazy.
Yeah. I love it. It's
I've-
it's sad, but I love it at the same time.
Yeah, I've negotiated with a few spirits in some private investigations where both families and the living and the people who are gone, they're both still living there and they both want each other to go away.
Yeah.
So I've had a couple of negotiations like that, and both of them successful so far.
Yeah.
It's been about 4 or 5 years, but I'm amazed that what you did. I've had some experiences like that, but I've never had the visual that you guys did. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
That is really awesome.
The SLS works great when it wants to
Yeah.
work,
Yes, it does. So
Technology sucks sometimes.
Exactly. Where does this place at again?
It's in Ness City, so from Wichita, it's about 3 hours away. It's northwest of here. We've been going there for, I think, since 2013.
Oh, wow.
Talked the board into letting us come in, and we've been doing events there and just doing what we can. Yeah, I mean, if you all ever want to set up a time to go there, I'll take you there.
That'd be
Ooh.
cool.
I'd meet you there. The thing is, it's
I
so
would-
far away, and there's nowhere in town to stay. I always say, whoever, all the guests that come, I'm like, bring a sleeping bag and an air mattress, because it's pretty open. It's very open. The second floor is a museum, in a way. The third floor is wide open. There's nothing up there except all the pictures of all the, I don't know what you call them, headmasters of the Masons from
Mason.
the
Oh,
1800s. Yeah, the Masons from the 1800s, I think, until the 80s. All their
That's
photographs are in there.
it's a beautiful building too.
Oh, I love it. I love it there. The people are nice. The town's great. But
Yeah, we could do our
I
own.
always we just got back from there about a month ago, so that was fun.
We could do our own Destination Fear
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
episode, and you can film that one. There you go.
Is that the one where they had the cameras facing straight up their nose?
Yep.
A
Yep.
few of them, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Kind of a Blair
Yeah.
Witch thing.
Yeah.
No, you know I'm talking about the TV show.
Yes.
Hmm.
They all sleep by themselves, and of course there's a camera person nearby.
Something I'm learning here is I am running this live on my Facebook profile and I can't chat anymore. So Grumpy's heading out. So I just want to tell Grumpy good night too.
Oh,
Yeah, he just said
Interesting
goodnight.
what Facebook is doing now. But okay, let's go on to the next slide here.
Oh,
Yeah,
So-
tell us about this one.
okay. So I have yet to have been a part of this one, but my whole team has. This was so the story's cool, and we're about ready to go to the lady who used to own this business to her house because she has a lot going on there now. So we're about ready to set a date and go over there. And she said, "Come as often as you want, film as often as you want, do what you need." She said because she absolutely loved us. But this right here is a security camera still photograph. She kept getting an alarm going off in her business late at night, saying that there's a movement inside. So she even got to the point she was calling the police, and they'd show up. Nothing's broken in. The windows and doors are fine. There's no one in the business. Well, she finally installed all the security cameras, and this picked up one evening when the sensors were going off. The camera shot that. Now the original photograph is a little darker, but my buddy Leo lightened it up, and you can actually see like her dress at the bottom and everything.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah. So they ended up going and investigating it. I think I was out of town somewhere. Couldn't make it, but they had a full-on experience with her. Like Leo and the owner were sitting at a desk up front, and the guys had left to go get cigarettes or something like that. It was getting late. And as Leo and her are sitting there, they hear like some sounds coming down the hallway. And then there's like, they just kept like getting this feeling like they're getting watched or, noises all around them. So they're like talking and looking around. When they look back up at the desk, there is a woman with black hair in a dress looking at them and walks around the desk, just staring them down. And then she walks down the hallway and gone.
Yeah.
Good grief.
Wow.
Yeah. And I missed it. I totally missed that whole experience.
Dang it.
But it was enough to get Leo, who's not, he doesn't startle well. It startled him and her. He was like, "Jason, oh my God, you should have seen it."
That's funny because
But-
like you're talking about not being there. We have a location here not too far from where I am. It's a large hospital, and we've gone there several times over the years. And it's big enough where you split your team up and they do different floors, whatever. And it's funny because like we'll say, "Wow, it's strange. Absolutely nothing's gone on in this building all night." And the other people are like, "Are you crazy? We've got this going on, this going on, this going on." It's like, oh man, I always tend to be on the other team. I'm like, really? No,
Yeah.
okay, whatever.
That's why.
Yeah, I know that feeling. I
They
know
did that
that.
on purpose, Adrian.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Tell us about
Okay,
this one.
so this is not mine, but this is the creature that started our team basically. So I mentioned my buddy Jeremiah. He is the original founder of Everyday Legacy Paranormal and Road Trip Paranormal with Brandon Callahan. So Jeremiah was living in Anthony, Kansas, and him and his wife were renovating this house. I think it was a house from the 40s. they were doing all kinds of stuff. So what you see there is like the rafters looking up. And for the whole time they were living there, weird things were just happening. And this is before he got into the paranormal. He always liked it, and this is at the time when Ghost Hunters, the original, was just kickstarting on TV. So it's been a while.
About 20 years.
And
Oh.
yeah, so he kept getting freaked out by all the stuff that they were seeing. They were seeing like he had the vents up off the floor, so you can see right into the basement. And I think they said they saw children with red hair running past down there. They'd go outside for a smoke, look back, and there's an old man with like crazy white hair staring back at them. They objects would move, just weird stuff. Well, what got him going was the fact that he's a nurse, he's an RN, and he got home, he took a nap, and he was gonna sleep until his daughter called him to go pick her up at school. So he's laying on the couch sleeping, and then he hears somebody walk in the front door, walk past him, go down to her bedroom, shut the door, and he wakes up finally realizing, oh my God, she's here. I did not want her to walk. So he marches down there, opens up her door, and there's nobody there. She wasn't home yet. And she calls him, like, I think a little bit later and says, hey, I'm ready to come home. So he's like, okay. So after watching Ghost Hunters, he's like, we can do that. We can do that. So him and a friend of his, excuse me, him and a friend of his grab an old Sony handheld. They had like the old cassette, I think, recorders. And they just decided to like do some stuff. And so as they're going around on this particular night, he had no air conditioner on. So it was like 90 some degrees inside the house.
Yeah.
Because they turned off everything so they could hear everything. And they go into this portion of the house and they look up, and Bob is the one filming, and he's looking up, and they both see this black pulsing mass that's up there. It's just like a mist, but it was kind of pulsating, they said. And it's over the corner of the up into the rafters. So Jeremiah, being crazy as he is, he's like, I'm going up there. So he climbs up there, and he said as soon as he gets up in the rafters, ice cold, and he's trying to get his footage when Bob yells up there and says, it's right there by you. And he looks over, and it's like coming right at him. So he drops down as it just disappeared. So I think he said 3 days later, they both go over, or Bob goes over the footage, thinking, they probably caught maybe a shadow or something. No, on the footage, 3 days later, not a mass, not a blob of anything. It's an actual creature that you can see up in the rafters, moving around with arms, legs, everything moving around, animalistic like. And in this still shot here, that's where you can kind of see where it's like leaning on its arm, kind of like this a little bit. At one point in the video, it turns its head and looks back at Jeremiah. It looks down further at Bob, blinks its eyes, and then just pushes backwards.
Yeah, it looked like the movie White Noise.
Yeah.
When I look at this, the first thing I saw when it popped up was, to me, it looks like a cat.
Yeah, not a cat.
But I mean,
because in the
it
video,
like a very large cat.
In the video, you can actually see its arms and everything, shoulders and everything moving and pushing backwards. The video, because I've seen it on a big screen, HD, and we've watched it several times, and you can see it like actually moving about. And he's like, yeah, we didn't have any animals in the house. We didn't have anything.
Was there any light? Like, do you think it might be like a shadow creature of some sort?
The only light they had was like I think a flashlight, and the light, just coming from the camera itself.
Wow.
It's weird.
That is freaky looking.
Enzo just said something about could it have been a rake, and that was my next thought too. So I agree with you. I agree with you, Enzo. Could be a
It
rake.
was it was weird. So what Jeremiah did was basically for any new team members, if they were going to join, if you can spend the night inside the house, you're on the team. Yeah,
That's awesome.
but
I'd be on your team in a second. There's not a place that's ever scared me enough to leave.
well,
So, Mike,
I
I have a
would.
question.
Now you can't give me a stay in a tent in the freaking woods, but I gotta stay in any house.
That's where we're gonna hate Adrian.
Is this picture here, Jason? Is this going to be any way connected with the next picture, or is
No.
this totally
Next picture is
really
totally different because this house
Well,
that Jeremiah caught this on, and I've always found it fascinating. Him and his wife ended up selling the house,
Uh-huh.
and it was right there in the in a residential area. I mean, but for some reason, the people that bought the house uplifted it from the foundation, and they were from what he said, they were like a very religious family. Uplifted the house, took it out in the country on some property, and won't return a call to anybody.
That's odd. Huh.
hey,
Yeah.
Will any of this information or these videos or whatever be in your next documentary?
Well, we're hoping to go back to some of these places and see what we
Okay.
can do. But
Great.
I actually have a whole idea of somewhere
Okay.
that we want to do.
That's
I'm
exciting.
interested.
That's
Yeah,
really
this
cool.
is pretty cool
Let's
stuff.
move on to the next picture. We got like 8 minutes left.
Okay.
This
Oh,
one's free.
That's creepy. I like that.
So this is in good old Dodge City. This is in the Depot Theater. We had a very large event that night. I think there's like 40 or 50 guests. And it's big enough where we can break everybody up, and we have a big enough team where we can put like 2 or 3 investigators with each group. And so on the second floor, there's a staircase that goes up to a roundabout. And for a long time, the roundabout went nowhere except into like some areas that hadn't been developed yet. But at one time, up there was a hotel. It was the Harvey and Mr. Harvey and the Harvey girls
Yeah.
in the train depot. So this whole building dates back to 1898, and we always interact with this little girl called Mary. Her name is Mary Beth. She has a little Southern accent. She usually interacts with us pretty good. She'll open and close the doors and talk to us. And that night we were actually had a kid's electronic piano on the stage, and Leo couldn't be there that night, so I got Leo on the speakerphone, and he's hollering out saying, "Mary Beth, you remember me, right? This is Leo. I've been there all, I grew up in Dodge. I've been there many times to talk to you." And he said, "I just want to ask you a question. Is there any way possible you could just like come down and play?" Before he could finish it, the piano starts playing.
Mm.
And it's not one that is controlled. You actually have to push it to play. And it was just an exciting moment. Well, we always interact with her, but now we're getting a little boy that we're interacting with. And something that's a little weird with who we think it is. We think the boy is possibly the older gentleman that's downstairs in the basement.
In this
Because
picture here?
yeah, that's the little boy that we have been interacting with too.
Looks like
And after communicating with him, well, I mean, to a lot of them, just the way he's sitting there with his hands on his knees kind of gives that feeling to it. But I don't know. I mean, it could be an older gentleman, but he's just kind of sitting there, and you can, I got the original photo, and you can actually see his hands like right there on his knees. It's like it's crazy. But that was just a chance. That was just a chance photograph. Just click and moved on.
Oh yeah, right on.
Those always seem to be the best ones too.
I know.
get until you look at it and you're like, holy moly. That is
But I
amazing.
love it. I
Yeah.
loved it just
Cool.
because he's like looking right down at us.
So if there's anyone that's actually listening to us as opposed to watching this on YouTube, I would encourage you to go over to YouTube and check out the photos that go along with this
Oh yeah, yeah.
podcast, because these are amazing. Really cool.
And where was
It's
this
fan.
again? You say it was in
Dodge City. We took that at the Depot Theater.
Depot Theater. Okay.
Very cool.
Yeah. We've been going there since 2012. They got new management and all that now, so now we have to renegotiate everything again.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Darn it.
Yeah, so trying to get us all back in there to do some more events and just have some more fun with this, because we miss actually interacting with some of them.
Oh, I bet.
And the place is huge.
We are getting a little close to the 8 o'clock hour.
Okay.
And before we go, Jason, tell us if anyone is interested in talking to you more or finding out more about your team, how can they get a hold of you?
You can reach out to us. We have our website. You can look up Road Trip Paranormal. It's I'm a bad owner. It's rtpkansas.com. Or you can just Google us, Road Trip Paranormal. You can message us on our website. You can even just find us on Facebook. I myself or one of the team members will talk to you and interact with you and stuff like that. So
Very
Right on.
good.
Great. There's been some fascinating stories. This is great.
Yeah.
Great
Sorry,
photos too.
I talked your ear off. Sorry about that.
No, that's what we
yeah.
want.
That's what this is all about.
Absolutely. Yeah, we want to hear the stories and we want to connect with people in our different states. So it's really good to have you back on. We appreciate
This
it.
is fun.
And hopefully
September
we'll see you at
28th.
ParaCon. Yes, hopefully we'll see you at
Yes.
ParaCon this year.
I will put that on my calendar and make plans for that.
Awesome. Sounds good. And Enzo just put your website in chat too. So thank you, Enzo.
Thank you.
All right.
All right.
Does anybody else have any questions or
I got so many questions,
what?
but no.
And we could probably chat for hours and they won't let me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ken doesn't have an off button.
No, I don't.
Ken is like that old time
Either
preacher
though.
that
It's
said,
okay.
and in conclusion, it's still talk for 2 hours. He's that type of guy.
Yeah.
So-
Definitely.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's a fantastic show. It's great. You got a lot of stuff, cool pictures, and I got to echo what Pam said. If you're listening to this, find the YouTube, look at the pictures online. It's just really cool, especially that last picture. That was really interesting. I like that. No, hey,
That's one of my favorites.
yeah, that
Oh,
would
and
be
we'll
mine
plug
too.
Brandon's book again too.
Oh
The
yeah,
Agony That Remains by Brandon Callahan. It's
Check it
fascinating.
out. Yeah.
I would, encourage anybody to check this one out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's we Leo and I lived that one, so we were a part of that. It was amazing.
Very cool. So
All
who do we
right.
have coming up next week?
Next week is Mr. Pat Fitzhugh. I know he's from the foreign
Yay.
lands of Tennessee, but he will be in Arkansas this October. His area of expertise is the Bell Witch. He was on last year, and we couldn't cover all the ground we needed to cover, so we're going to cover more ground this coming week. Fantastic speaker, good friend, and I'm happy to have him on. Proud to have him here. So,
He's a great guy. Yeah,
so yeah, no, it's a good time, good show, fantastic.
it was.
Thank you, Jason, for joining us.
Thank
It's a good
Thank you.
show for me.
And
Thank
stick
you.
around for a few minutes.
Oh yeah, you will. And we are going out of here as soon as I hit the right button. Bye.
Good night, everyone.
Hey guys.
Bye,
Thanks for
everybody.